You are now listening to or watching the It Takes All Kinds podcast.
Yeah, and if you aren't, you can head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and listen to us now, or head on over to Drib on YouTube and watch the video version as well.
And if you'd like to stay up to date on when we're releasing a new episode or any other fun information about the podcast, you can give us a follow on Instagram at It Takes All Kinds Podcast and on Twitter at ITAK Podcast. That's ITAK Podcast.
Without saying much else, we hope you enjoy this episode. Hello. We're going to be doing some thinking today on today's It Takes All Kinds podcast, episode 181. We are recording this on Monday, August 26th. You'll be hearing this on Friday, August 29th. Is that correct? I think that's right. That's the right one.
Yeah, I think it might be the 30th.
30th?
I know because I have a meeting.
Shit, it's the 30th.
It's the 30th because I got a meeting on Saturday.
No!
I'm in my fucking meeting era, dude.
Dude, you're in your demure meeting era.
There we go again.
There it is again.
Just the little chichi, not the whole cha-cha. Or whatever it was. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's what they say, yeah.
Close enough.
Pretty good.
As Gavin so properly exclaimed, this is the philosophical, existential episode. We are philosophers. I didn't know if you guys knew that. That's actually what we went to college for. We just switched majors.
We're big thinkers, right? We do a little thinking, right?
I had a doctor look at my brain once, and he's like, "You think too much."
I've always, especially this weekend, I wanted to take a toothbrush to the middle of my brain.
Hollow it out?
No,
or
just
clean it off.
Clean it off, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I had a headache, and it was killer. And it was actually happening last night. It was a killer headache, and then as soon as I got out of work, it was gone.
I had a killer headache when I woke up this morning. I get that a lot. I wake up, and I'm like, oh, God.
Oh, fuck.
And all I have to do is get out of bed, and then I'm fine.
Yeah, I feel like I should probably do some stretches in the morning to get the headaches gone.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah, whenever I get a headache, sometimes I'm like, if I could just stick a needle right in my head.
Yeah, and it was definitely like a 10.
Uh-oh. Oh, we might have lost him for real now. Oh, I hear you now.
It was
like a tension?
It was a tension headache. It was like from here to here. Like here, back my head to the top. It was just like wearing like a bald cap on the side of my head.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was epic.
Gross.
And I know my internet connection's unstable. I apologize. It's going to be a rough one. Our house is hot, so internet's going to be going out.
Running warm. That's all right. Whatever. We're in the digital era. I'll cut a lot of it out, so not to worry. But yeah, so we got a lot of philosophical thoughts to go over about. Gavin and I have a little duo rant of sorts about texting that I think kind of is really just prominent mostly in our generation. I feel like, I mean, I know other generations deal with it too, but I feel like it really stemmed from ours and it's kind of an issue in our generation. And then Gavin has a little thing to present about white collar jobs. Now we know about blue collar weddings. We know about
We know about all blue collar weddings, blue collar jobs, all those kinds of things. But
we've covered it. We've covered blue collar. We're done with it. It's out.
And I'm going to be going into white collar work.
True.
So I do have to at least be have an understanding of what I'm about to get myself into.
I would think so. I would hope so.
I hope so.
Because if you're not, then there's going to be big problems.
Then what the fuck am I doing?
What the fuck? And then we also we're going to talk about Trump truthing out some AI-generated images of Taylor Swift. That's kind of old news, but it's evergreen.
We were hoping that we would get an update by now, but we have not.
No, of course not. And then if there's time, a Carson Cinema Corner, but we are for sure doing a Nextdoor Drama this week. Courtesy, I don't know if you knew this yet, courtesy of your dad, who just popped
Yeah.
in your room a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
A real solid one from your dad. So much so that there's
Yeah.
like too much I couldn't even fit into it. So look forward to that at the end of the episode. But first off, Gavin, what's up? How are you, meine Freundin?
I'm all right. I worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the hospital. Yeah. That's 4 days in a row. And I tried my best.
Oh, he turned his mic off. It's still off. This is what we have to deal with,
I
folks.
hit a button. There's a button on the side of the mic. What the fuck?
That kills it.
Yeah, so I worked there this weekend and tried my best to keep a level head about everything, but it still happened, and I was just like, I really, sometimes you're just like, I really want to be literally anywhere else right now. And
Yep.
I was feeling that this weekend, where it was really busy this weekend at the hospital for some reason, and I wish it wasn't. But
Yeah.
have a lot of just just some thoughts. Just have thoughts up in there about the work.
That's why we're doing our philosophical episode. We gotta get our thoughts
We're always
out.
thinking about thinking.
We're always thinking, guys. We are philosophers, and don't forget that. All right,
We're modern philosophers. We're like the Jordan B. Peterson.
Jordan Peterson. Never
What the hell?
Never walk your dog after 10 p.m.
That was Jordan Peterson entering the ring.
Yeah, he's going in for a fight. He should be in the WWE. He probably will be at this point.
And then I also after work Saturday went out for my friend Andrea's birthday. Shout out Andrea.
Shout out.
And her twin Alicia.
I always forget that she is a twin.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. Sometimes you don't remember that, and then you see them and you're like, oh yeah, you guys are the same.
Twins are nature's fuck up.
Wow.
I don't mean that about the twins specifically, but it's
right. But it's
like nature was like, oops, shit. Ah, crap.
Fuck.
It's only
Damn it! I
supposed to be
split the
one.
egg.
Damn
Split
it,
the egg in two.
again. God damn it, I did it again. It's like a factory worker fucking something
It
up.
is.
I was like,
Yeah,
well,
I guess we're doing circles now.
yeah, exactly. It's call back to last week's philosophical.
Call back to last week's.
thought.
But yeah, so hung out with them, and we went to Soulard. They live in Soulard, so I was hanging out around Soulard, and that's like one of the like older places of St. Louis, like by far. Like that is a really old area, and it's really walkable. So much so I literally walked probably like a quarter mile to get to where we were because I didn't know where to go. So I was
There you
just
go.
like, I parked way far away, and I was like, I'm just gonna walk there because I
Right.
can.
Right.
It's Soulard, so like it's not like the absolute worst
No,
like part
it's
of St.
fine.
Louis if anybody's like listening from the suburbs. But yeah, fantastic time. Went to 1860s game room, and then we went to Molly's, which is a staple of Soulard. It's been a staple there for a while. It was the first. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was the first weekend that every school was back in session. So there was
Right, so
a
it's
lot of people.
crammed, I'm sure.
That was the most people I've seen in one place in a bar in one time in a long time. I told myself as I was walking out, I'm going to find the love of my life here tonight because there's just so many people. There were just so many people that were there, and I enjoyed my time. There.
And you didn't find the love of your life, did you?
Did not find the love of my life, unfortunately. And we live and we learn, right?
There's always next time. I always think that when I walk into Walmart.
Right. I'm gonna find the love of my life in here.
And then I don't. It's a shame, and I
It's
do
the
it every
saddest
week.
thing I've ever seen.
I do it every week, and I just cry on the way. I cry all over my groceries. That's good, man.
And then yeah. And then,
You look like you're reading off a list. Gavin has a
I was trying to find
teleprompter in
that.
front of him.
yeah. So one of the first things that I'm going to say.
One of the read this line next before getting to Carson.
Got it. And then we're still doing a fantasy draft for work. We're doing a work fantasy draft, and we're still doing it.
And it hasn't
It started
happened
4
yet?
days ago. It started 4 days ago. And we had like 8 hours for the first like 3 rounds for each pick, and there's 12 of us.
I heard someone else talking about that they're like doing their fantasy draft in like days. I forgot who it was, but they're like, we're taking days to do our draft, like on purpose.
Yeah, and it's like it's great. I mean, it's great. It's extremely flexible. I love it. There's this guy from on Twitter that said from @RichardNormal, Richard_normal.
Shout out.
He tweeted out, "Hey man, thanks for getting the fantasy draft together. I'm flexible. I can basically do whenever as long as it's not during any time during the work week, and I definitely can't do nights, and weekends are kind of tough lately. Mornings also aren't great, and I'm really busy in the afternoons."
That's funny.
Which is kind of how it has been.
That's how it is when you're an adult. You gotta find time.
It's one of the
for
facts
stuff.
of life.
And speaking of Gavin, if you don't mind me, unless
Go
you
right
have more to
ahead.
say, I can take it
don't.
from here. I'm just
I do
reading.
not.
I'm just going off what the teleprompter says.
And what's the teleprompter say next, Carson?
It says, speaking of doing things, squeezing things in, so to speak, had a little time this weekend to do some fun things and maybe things I thought were going to be fun. As you may be seeing, I do have a haircut. And it
is one of the haircuts of all time.
It's one of the haircuts. So I did something that is, I don't know, I said it was maybe uncharacteristic, but maybe just to you, I feel like maybe people who don't know me very well would think that this is very normal for me, or just seems like it would be normal behavior.
You always get a fuck ass haircut. Is that
I
what you're
always
saying?
get a fuck boy haircut.
Yeah.
No, this isn't. This is like a. Well, I was gonna say something like, I don't know if I.
Yeah.
It's not my word to say.
Yeah.
And it's not a slur or anything. It's just I don't know if I should use it. It starts with a T. I'll say that.
Right.
But so before I moved out here, I've had the same hairstylist, and I'm saying hairstylist. In my head, hairstyle. This is something you shouldn't say out loud, but I'm going to because it's kind of funny. In my head, hairstylists are women and barbers are men.
I mean, that's what they are.
I don't know.
That's what they are. I'm pretty sure everybody
there's
who
women who are barbers. There were women who were barbers at this barber shop I went to, and I would still call them barbers. But in my head, it's like,
no, you're saying those are hairdressers. You're like,
I'm
you're
like,
not a real barber.
You're a hairdresser. I told them that's their face.
Give me a fucking break.
Give me a break. So
are you gonna tell this woman working your barber stand to go work at the hairstylist next door?
She can't even vote. How is she gonna be a barber?
What the fuck is she doing here?
And I know that's going.
By the way,
way
for everybody
over
everybody at home, my bit is that I'm a misogynist and that well, actually, no, not even a bit. I just am, just like flat out. Like it's just.
No, it is a bit. You bastard.
It's a bit. I just am really good at playing boomers. I guess I've been around them enough.
Well, I mean, you've played old men every time you've ever had to play or a thing.
I think
Most
every
times.
time that at least once a year, I think I played an old man.
Yeah. So I've had the same hairstylist for like 15 years. Never on anybody else. Shout out Debbie one time. Always done a great job. Family friend. Like, just would always like take so much time and care into doing my hair. That was a rhyme. And so I was like, one of the things I needed to do when I got out here was establish a new either hairstylist or barber or whatever. And since I've always had the same person, I've never had to look for someone else. So I was like, I'm just going to find a barbershop that has good reviews and try that out.
Walk right in.
And we'll see what happens. So I'm of course I wasn't going to the chain. It had to be like a specifically owned place. So then, well, fuck, I can't say the name of the place I went to. Let's just say the name of I can't say this. The name of the place had the word fades in it. Like
okay.
Fades. And so I was like, okay, well, this is like a real barbershop. Like, I don't know how this is going to go. You know, this is kind of out of my league here since I've always had a hairstylist and not like a specific, we do fades and, you know, these kinds of cuts.
Did you do an appointment? Did you get an appointment there?
I did. I booked an appointment online. I found the stylist that had the most reviews that I found, like just within their Yelp reviews, and I went with him. And as soon as I showed up, his like, I don't know, somebody was there that like his nephew or something. He was finishing him up, and then he called me over, and he like sits me down. He's getting everything ready. Still has not asked me what my haircut is going to be. Like, he's getting things set up and ready to go and like blow dry me, putting like has not asked yet. And I'm like, is he going to ask? Do I just need to like say it? And then finally he's like, oh, what do you want to do? And my mistake is that I told him what my hairstylist had done before. And what I should have done is shown him a picture of what I wanted and be like, here's what I have had done. This is what it looks like. This is what my stylist did. But instead I told him what my hairstylist did, which honestly, that probably would have helped a little bit. He fucked it up so bad that I don't think it would have mattered. Cause he did the fade like while he was talking, like he did it super fast. And then he like one side is longer than the other. There's also like, these are longer than the middle, which makes no sense.
Yeah, I know.
And like
too.
he like just like did whatever he wanted to do. And it was like, usually when I go to my hairstylist at home, it's like 45 minutes to an hour that I'm there for, which maybe seems like a long time. I don't know. But this one was like, you have 30 minutes with us. And he's like, yeah, he's like, you know, he was asking me questions. He's like, yeah, he's like, you know, we do it quick, but we take care of you. Like, you know, and as he's saying, he's like, yeah, we're quick and everything. And then he's like stopping in the middle of the haircut to watch the football game and talk to someone about the football game. And I'm like, what do you like? You're quick, but yet you're going to like stop 3 times to tell somebody about how the fucking Dallas Cowboys are shit. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're not even trying.
Have you ever been to a barbershop?
When I was like a kid, I think I went to like a Fantastic Sam's,
Okay.
but otherwise, no.
Okay.
But like
curious.
nobody else was doing that.
Okay.
It was just my guy. So I'm like, oh, okay. I just got stuck with the fucking this guy, without being mean.
You got the guy who's got the reviews. He
Yeah.
talks a lot.
He talks a lot.
He's a friendly guy.
He's a very nice guy. He did the fade super great, but this he just like
I was
couldn't care less.
I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, the fade looks great. Like
it does.
like
he killed it.
yeah,
Everybody
like
can
it
probably
looks
see on the
great.
camera.
yeah.
Yeah, and he did it like
I'm like,
super
that's
fast.
crazy.
But like he had no like up here. He was like, I was like, what is he fucking doing? Like he just like pulled up a chunk of my hair and just like cut off the top. I was like, I want an inch off the top. He just like cut a chunk off, and he did that like 3 times, and then he cleaned up some things here, and I was like, what did he even just do? Like, what did he do? And I was
Am
like,
I
you're
fucked?
Yeah, I'm like, what? I'm like, just pay attention. I'm paying you fucking $40 for 30 minutes. Like, and it wasn't, he was like 25 and I was out of there. And I was like, what? It was crazy. It was so bizarre. So I either will not be going back there or I'm going to pick a different person because that was crazy. So that happened on Saturday.
Well, you got 3 months.
Yeah, I got it. What do you mean 3 months?
That's usually like whenever I get my haircut. So
I get mine every month, baby. I'm an every monther. You don't think I look this good too in 3 months?
Well, when you put it like that.
And then so on Sunday I was in the dumps, and so I was like, let me get out of here. Let's go to the beach, baby. So that's what I did. I went
so
up
close to the fucking beach. Let's go.
So that's what I did. I didn't go. It's probably not the closest beach, but I really wanted to go to Malibu, to Point Doom, to be specific. That is where they filmed the ending scene in the original 1968 Planet of the Apes with the Statue
Huge
of Liberty.
fan of the Planet of the Apes, this guy.
I love that movie. I haven't seen the rest of them, but I love that movie specifically, and I knew that was there, and I really wanted to go see it, which that was super cool.
You still have the Statue of Liberty there, right?
Oh, yeah, it's still there. It's the original, too.
Okay.
It's the real Statue of Liberty.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
It's not in New York anymore. You can try and see it. It's not there. Trust me. And boy, God, howdy, that was such a beautiful place to be. And you get to go up on the rock that's like next to where they would have had the Statue of Liberty. And that's where I took some cool videos on my
Headshots.
Instagram. That's where I took my new headshots. I was so scared. There were so many people up there. I was like, somebody's going to fall and die. Like, I wonder how many people fall and die because there's no railing.
They call it Point Doom?
Yeah. Dume.
Okay. Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, you're right. It does sound like Doom. I mean, maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's somewhere where you would jump to, end it all.
Yeah, because it's
'Cause
like,
it's- And it's not high enough.
it's not like that high.
There's a chance you could live,
And you don't want that.
and you don't want that. And I did. 'Cause I jumped. just for
And I
fun.
landed. I landed on my ankles and it was fine. Like I'm a champ.
Oh yeah, no, it was all good. Like I was cool. I walked away and people were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why are you being weird?"
What the dude?
I
like,
needed to
fuck
get
off.
down. How am I supposed to get down from there?
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah, I was like, "What do you want?" There's so many. Yeah, there's people who were like slipping around on the rocks, and I was like, "I got to get out of here because this is freaking me out."
I'm not going to be a witness today.
No, that was, dude. I'm like, listen, if I fall and die, I don't care, but I can't be there if it's gonna happen to someone else. I really don't like that. That's something that really
crazy.
stresses me out. Like car accidents and shit. And I'm like, I'm not somebody who's gonna see a car accident and be the only one there and be like, no, I'm just gonna keep going. But like, I really get anxiety when stuff like that happens because I'm like, I really don't want to fucking have to deal with this.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just something I don't want to do.
Too much litigation.
Too much, man. I've already been through enough. God damn it, I was trying to play a sound.
I eat a whole brat.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's what I did this weekend. Nothing else really to share. Bad haircuts in Malibu. Got to meet Barbie while I was out there. Your internet's like shitting out, so it's like brrr.
Perfect.
Gavin, tell me who's Donald Trump?
So this Donald Trump guy, right?
You heard
And
about
he's
him?
like he's like this orange guy who used to be in the White House.
He's
this
literally orange.
Cheeto.
Is he actually
Yeah.
orange?
He says orange Cheeto who used to be in the White House. and believe it or not, he's running for president again after he lost and tried to overthrow the government.
You do really sound like a TikTok person who's explaining things to children.
So this orange guy, right?
So he's orange, right?
Right. So he's orange.
And he wants to be the president.
Definitely, he like paints himself in like Cheeto dust.
You really do sound like one. He paints himself in Cheeto dust.
I'm like the baby Gronk guy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
You got to stare dead into the camera and say every word without moving your head.
Yeah. Don't blink. Yeah.
And don't blink.
Yeah.
Starring Zoe Kravitz.
So Orange Man, who was in the White House, was really bad. And what makes that so bad is that he wanted to build a wall between Mexico and the America.
Mexico. He wanted to build a wall between Mexico and America.
And America.
And the America. So tell me about what's happened. What did he do? What did he do?
So this Donald Trump guy, not a great guy. So what happened was he created an app where he wasn't banned so that he can make other people who also believe in stuff like him join the app. And what he does on there is tweet some really bad stuff. For example, he tweeted out, I apologize for this miscommunication here. He doesn't tweet out, he truths out on Truth Social. That's the name of his other alternative social media. And he truths out these pictures of AI generated Taylor Swift. What does he mean by this?
What does he mean by this? What does he
mean by all this? That takes a lot out of me.
But that's what he did. You're right. So we can look at these pictures. I'm looking at these pictures. I'll show them.
Yeah, they're
on
really
screen. Do you want to read them?
Yeah. So
I know
Donald
Trump.
Donald Trump tweeted a series of truth. I'm going to keep
Get it
saying
right.
that wrong. He truthed out four images. One of Swifties turning to Trump after ISIS foiled Taylor Swift concert. A picture of a white woman wearing a shirt that says Swifties for Trump. I'm putting out white women because this is the demographic that he is not winning in.
Well, you should also say that picture about the ISIS one has 6
Oh.
pictures of AI generated pictures of
women.
Women.
White women.
Not all white women, actually.
Not all white women.
But they're AI generated, so who even matters?
Yeah.
They're not real to
Right.
begin with. Wearing Swifties for Trump
Swifties
shirt.
for Trump. And then there's this photo of Taylor Swift dressed up as Uncle Sam saying Taylor wants you to vote for Donald Trump. And he said, I accept.
Which is very AI generated.
And then someone from Twitter, and he tweeted a screenshot of it, was Swifties for Trump continue to break the internet. Kamala's campaign, I guess I can't read the full image there, but like troubles over it, shambles over it, something ovals over it, from AKA Face Hots.
Which the first picture is fake, but then there is a real picture of someone.
Yeah, it's that same girl. It's that same
it's the
girl.
same person who, like, I mean, listen, there's probably a lot of Swifties that are voting for Trump.
Yeah, of course.
Not all of them. I would say the majority isn't, but there's definitely a
demographic that does exist where there are Swifties for voting for Trump.
And maybe I'm generalizing here, but probably a lot of them that would also be like, I like Taylor Swift's country stuff a little bit better. That's why I'm here.
Her Red era wasn't really my favorite.
It was not my favorite. She started getting all political and talking about Jake Gyllenhaal and whatnot. I did not like that.
When she was dating a 17-year-old, that was where it was at.
Was she dating a 17-year-old?
She did date someone who's a little underage.
Who was that? This sounds vaguely familiar.
Okay.
Hold on, we're pulling up the dirt on Taylor. This is bad territory, Gavin. The Swifties are coming after us.
2012, Connor Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy's son.
Right.
He was 17 going on 18. Taylor Swift was 23.
And that's whose son again? Say that again.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s, RFK.
Oh, right. There is an RFK Jr. pipeline with Swift. Oh, God, I forgot about... Yeah, because she really wanted to date a Kennedy.
Yeah.
But she was underage.
He was 17 turning 18, so it was like in his senior year of high school.
Man, I know it shouldn't be said, but I really don't like Taylor Swift, dude. I really don't. And like, I know it's something you shouldn't say on the internet, but I really don't think she's a good person. I really don't.
I think the way that she has manipulated the Billboard Top 100's pop chart is going to probably have ramifications down the line. Because every time she like loses the number one spot for like a day or two or a week or whatever, she like releases like another demo or something to like bring it back up. Allegedly. There are people who are noticing on Instagram and Twitter that are noticing this. This is not like just something stupid that someone's making up. This is happening. She does do this. It's just odd. Just a bit odd.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some. Sorry, I keep pulling tissues out here. My finger's bleeding.
Can you stop poking your finger?
Yeah, it's really itchy, dry skin. My issue I always just like had bad feelings about her for a while, but I never really talked about it because I was like, I don't know where these feelings come from. But then I felt like kind of validated whenever all the stuff about her like flights came out and like how much like emissions her private jet gives off, and like how she'll like take a 30-minute flight from like one place to another, and just like that just really rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, ugh, you think you're very important, don't you? You know what I mean?
And she does. Let me put it this way, Carson. This is also the philosophical me.
Here we go. We got
also prophetizing here.
Prophetizing?
I'm being a prophet.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift will run for president.
Oh God. You're part of her campaign, aren't you?
That's a reality that can happen.
You know what's going to happen? Next election, here we go. I got the bill already. You ready?
Okay.
I don't even know how this bill makes sense, but it's just going to happen because one of them will run independent. First candidate, Taylor Swift. Second candidate, Jimmy Beast, Mr. Beast.
Why did balloons play?
Because I put the Beast sign up. Or maybe I put number one. Oh, there it is. We're one. That's my guess. One of them will be independent. The other one will be Democrat.
Kamala Harris is going to run. That will be it eventually. That will be
right.
it
It can't be
in
next
probably
time.
2042 or something like that.
Yeah, not next election, but the election after.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Kamala's going to seek re-election.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. She'll be like, I'll just let Taylor take over.
that was a big thing that happened at DNC this week. To give a little scoop, Beyonce was allegedly supposed to be the scheduled special guest that they were, hyping up about. But
and then nobody ever came out.
Then no one ever came out.
There's nobody.
Like it was like literally like 7 minutes of like just people cheering with American flags.
Yeah.
And no one came out, and Beyonce's tour manager was like, we never had Chicago on the schedule. But to have that many people, seemingly in hysterics about having Beyonce there, and like the DNC was putting up curtains when they didn't need to, does raise some questions. But
like what questions?
Like what? Like was she actually supposed to be there? Like where was she actually? Like did she back out last minute? What was it? So
yeah, because it was being
there's
reported,
speculation.
Yeah, it was being reported by like I would say reputable places that usually have things right.
Right.
So it was very odd because it was like
it was a bit odd, but that was.
I don't go on Twitter often, and I was seeing it everywhere that there was going to be a big surprise.
Yeah,
and then
they were like, it's a big surprise. That was all they were saying.
Yeah, and then nothing.
There's
literally nothing.
Here.
Get it out. Get it
I don't
out.
know how it fly.
Get the fly
but
out.
yeah, so Taylor Swift will be running with Donald Trump in 2042.
Oh, with Donald Trump.
With Donald Trump.
Against Jimmy Beast.
Yes.
Wow, that's gonna be.
And his Jimmy Beast's vice president will be.
Let him cook. Sketch.
Yeah, Sketch or Jinxie.
One or the other.
Or Kai Cenat or
Kai would make
I
more
Show
sense.
Speed.
Kai would make
I
more
Show
sense,
Speed.
I think. Kai would probably make the most sense out of everybody. Anyways, though, Gavin, let's move into our philosophical portion of the show. Why don't you set this up? What exactly spawned this in your head, and then we can kind of dive into it.
So one thing I've realized is over time I've slowly started changing my texting habits. For better, in my opinion. I feel like I'm not always glued to my fucking phone whenever someone's texting me.
Right.
If I need to be. If no one's like texting me to be like, I need you to pay attention, like I will be. But for anxiety's sake, I have told myself no one needs an answer right now.
Yeah.
For a long time, I was a really, 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 really clingy texter.
Mm-hmm.
I would double text, quadruple text, quintuple text until whenever, you know what I mean? Just and less of conversation and more of just like, hey, look at me, pay attention to me, kind of stuff. Whenever I was talking to girls, whenever I was talking with the boys,
yeah,
I wasn't talking to guys, but talking with guys.
You're safe. You're in a safe space.
And that kind of thing, it was just like all the time. I realized I was like, yeah, I had a situation last year where I realized, or a year and a half ago at this point, almost 2 years now, where I realized that no one needs to know everything I'm doing at all times of the day.
Yeah.
That's like the one. This is like the one thing I can actually like set a boundary for myself is that no one has to know exactly what I'm doing. If you know what I'm saying. Like if I'm like, oh, I'm going to the movies. All right, I'll text you in a couple hours. You know what I mean? Like I feel like growing up and like growing up in like that iPod, texting all the time, like Kik, Skype, whatever it is, texting all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was that you always had to update someone on what you're doing, where you're going,
right,
who you're hanging out with, every time you thought of them, anytime, anything came up, it was anything changed. You were giving them basically an itinerary of your day every day.
Which I feel like is something that maybe other generations, older generations than us, maybe don't even know, But I feel like a lot of that even started from like our parents being like, let us know where you are.
Right.
And then that went to, I got to tell people where I am. And then that kind of goes into your relationships.
And yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, after, being single or being alone and living alone for so long, it was like, not everybody has to know what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's not too safe to tell everybody, like, I'm out of my apartment right now. Not that anyone would ever like go find where I live and like rob it, but it was just like, it's something that could happen. So I'm like, if someone wants to, they probably could. You know what I mean? And or like, you know, my dorm, you know, because like dorms you could have accidentally left unlocked, or people could. And our dorms, you have a roommate, and like that was also a liability. Was that, you know, some people's stuff would get stolen, or, you know, like that can't happen.
Right.
Realistically, it can't happen. So it doesn't, me not texting people doesn't come from like a paranoia aspect, but it's just a lot of like, I have to set boundaries for myself, otherwise I'll go fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think it's funny that both you and I are kind of going through this at the same time, which I think just comes with getting older,
Busy.
Yeah, being an adult and having real responsibility. Because, you know, just an example of this happening to me. I don't mean to interrupt you if you had more
No,
to
go ahead.
explain.
No, I'm done. I mean, I have more, but
I'm
we can
done.
go on. I'm done.
Pouts for the rest of the episode.
No, go ahead. I don't care.
I'm done anyways.
I hate him.
The last like what's the fucking word I'm looking for? The last like involved relationship I had, the last like real relationship I had, which is actually quite some time ago now. I had, you know, the thing of like feeling like I always needed to let that person know where I was. Also, I was 20, right. I'm 24 now, so it's way different. But it, like, after I got out of that was also around the time that I moved out. And then it was like, oh yeah, why was I don't want that ever again. Like,
right.
If I meet somebody and I immediately know that they're like clingy or whatever, then I'm just going to like shut that off right away and be like, hey, listen, like, I see this being a problem. Let's just, you know, stop it right away. Cause
nip it in the bud.
Yeah. Cause it's like, you don't need to know where each other is all the time. It doesn't, all that means is that you're insecure and you need to know you think something's going on that actually isn't. And then that's just something where you need to check yourself, which is something I did. You know, I was like I would hear people talking about that and I was like, couldn't be me. And then I was like, no, I am just insecure. Like, it's just like, you know, it sucks to admit it.
Right. And I think it also comes from a place of like texting all the time. It was like I was having not as meaningful conversations over text.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it was just kind of like pointless bullshit.
Yeah.
That didn't get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It was annoying to text back. And I would rather have more of a summary at the end of the day of like, how was your day?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I would almost rather have that.
Yeah.
Than to have someone update me every single day, every single minute of every single day of every single week of every single year.
Which I think I began to hate even more than letting someone know where I was just the like constantly feeling like there was a need to constantly have a line of communication going.
Right.
It was like, yeah, like you said, it just means that every conversation is less meaningful because then what do you have to talk about? You know, when you actually
and
get
I think it also did come from, a place of like insecurity for me, because it was like, am I doing enough? Am I ever going to like, you know, are they ever going to pay attention to me? You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh God, if I don't get this, I'm, you know, if this girl stops texting me for even a minute, I know I'm fucked.
Yeah.
She's no longer interested.
Right. And it's a hard thing to,
so it's like, I can't,
over, you know.
It's really, it was a lot of seeing how, no joke, how older people communicated.
Yeah.
Whenever I would send an email, it would take a couple days to get back, or, you know what I mean? Like, or if whenever my parents would text, it was like, I would ask them something, but they wouldn't text back in a couple hours, or, you know, it was just like, and also seeing people in healthy relationships communicate is that it's like, yeah, we actually don't text all the time. And
yeah,
we only phone call maybe once, once a day if something's really important, but if not, I'll just see him at home.
I remember how mind-blowing that was hearing from people, like older people, not even that old, but, you know, like a couple years older than us,
right,
who were in like long-term relationships with people and being like, oh yeah, like there's like weeks where we don't even text. And it was like, what do you mean? And it's like,
yeah,
you know,
I'm like, how can you go that long?
Yeah. And like these, not even all the time were people who didn't even live in the same place. Like sometimes it wasn't, obviously that makes sense, but sometimes it wasn't. It was just like They're just like, yeah, like whatever. We, what is there to, we don't need to text all the time.
Right.
And that was such a crazy thing for me.
And I think
realize.
Now a lot of people are slowly moving to it. Is doing the more meaningful text. But the difficulty that comes with having a more meaningful text is that whenever you reply, you have to make it as meaningful as the previous person. And it's a lot of maneuvering. It's a lot, and it's fascinating to me because it becomes a burden if you're not that bought into communicating at that time.
Right.
It's like there will be a couple days where I'm like, man, I would love to reply to this right now, but I just do not have. In all honesty, this sounds like, bad, but it's like I don't have the emotional capacity to communicate everything I want to this person right now.
No, I don't think that sounds bad at all. That's just normal human
It just sounds
behavior.
bad. It sounds bad because, like, if someone's trying to communicate with me, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, give me a couple minutes. I've got to think about this one for a minute.
Oh, yeah. No, I do the same thing because, like, now we're kind of moving into, like, what I think is, like, what texting culture, like what texts mean and how, like,
right.
Again, another thing that maybe people in older generations don't understand is that, like, we've somehow come to, like, have our own, I think, because I don't think we all have the same understanding, but I think we each have our own feelings about how certain texts mean and how, like, we really want to, like, at least for me, maybe just speaking for myself, I'm always like, does this text convey the emotion that I'm feeling? Or does this text come off as, like, I'm sounding like a dick?
Right.
And, like, that's always, like, that's why, like, I think what you're saying is, like, for me, whenever I'm sending a text, it takes me a while to respond. That's why I dread texting some people, not everybody. And, like, I don't, like, if you're a person who I dread texting, it's not because I don't want to text you. It's just because, like, I know that I might need to put a little bit more of my emotion into it, of how I feel, and making sure that I'm conveying it correctly.
Right. It's like you have
other people that I can just say, like, whatever, and I don't have to second guess it.
It's like I have to have, like, an editor go over it, and like the editor is me 6 hours from now.
Right. That's why I want to. If I'm ever in a place where I need to hire an assistant, I'll just be like, your job is to text people for me.
Like, I can't do that right now.
Yeah, I'm like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I'll pay you whatever you want, but your job is to text people for me. I will tell you what to say. I want you to read my old text. You can read all of my old text to see how I talk.
You can pull the skeletons out the closet.
You can pull them right out and put them right into it. Because it's just become like a weird stress for me. And I'm like, I hate that because it's so stupid because, like, there are people like you and me, or maybe just me. I'm not going to speak for you, who, like,
go ahead,
who do, feel that weight of text. But then there are other people who definitely don't, who are just, like, very by the book, say what's on their mind.
I'll reply whenever, I'll reply and text whatever. Like, and I liked, there were a couple people where it was like that, where it was just, like, completely casual. It was like there was no, like, emotion behind the text. It was just like, we're just saying things. It was nice.
Yeah.
And there's just two, you have to set yourself up for so much whenever you're in, like, the relationship sphere. It's so odd. And even just, like, I almost want to start texting like a boomer because they do the ... dots a lot. And in all honesty, whenever I have to communicate through Teams, sometimes I will just do that. I'll just be like ...
Yeah.
Or, like, like, enter. Like, usually you would do enter. Like, I think that's like the equivalent
right
today.
Right.
But it's like ... also makes it like one full thought. It's like. But I think of, like, an enter as, like, more of a pause. But we can get into the semantics of that some other time. But there's just
but, like, there's
having
so much
a casual conversation that just flows. It doesn't really matter if I reply, if you reply, however many times. Like, that, setting that up is a great way for, I feel like, success.
Yeah.
Because then it's like the fall off is okay. It becomes natural because you're hanging out more. You're doing things more often with them. Like, the texting fall off should happen naturally over time. It's just fascinating to still see so many people on the wave of texting people as soon as they receive it and as fast as they receive it, and like it has to be right now. If it's not right now, then you're a lost cause. Like there's no point.
Right.
I feel like that's a lot more of the clinically. I'll say that clinically all online people. Like they are always online. They're always on. They're always doing something on the computer. And with that comes, it can be annoying to people like you or I.
Yeah.
that like some time between our text messages.
Yeah, and I honestly, it's kind of funny because I feel like I'm at a point where, like I said, I really want to get over this like stupid internal monologue of thinking that I really like. I'm at the point where I way overthink my text, and it takes me way too long to respond to a text or an email. And like that's a problem for me because that really like takes a chunk out of what I'm doing, because I have to stop everything to read a text and send a text, or read an email and send an email. Whereas now I want to switch over to be able to respond to text quicker, because I went away from responding right away to now I'm responding like it's never like super late or super after the fact, but like
right.
It takes a minute, like even if
A
someone
little bit longer than what you maybe expect from someone.
Right. And it's like getting to a point where it's like getting silly that I'm like thinking this much about it. And it's like, I want to get over that, and I want to be able to respond quicker. Not because of like I need to respond right away because otherwise this person's going to think something's up. It's just I need to respond right away because I need to get back to what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
that's
my perspective of it now. Like I don't think about responding right away as like oh man, if I don't respond right now, I'm going to have to explain to them why I didn't respond right away.
Right.
Which like definitely used to be a thing that I thought.
Oh, for sure.
Which
absolutely.
It's like looking back.
It still
on all
comes
stuff,
up in
so
my
stupid.
like.
Yeah.
It still comes up in like my head. I'll be
For
like,
sure.
oh, I should apologize. Like why I didn't reply. I'm like, nah,
No.
fuck that. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
I'm like, I was doing my thing. You're doing yours.
Right.
And you're texting me. That's fine. I'm doing mine.
Yeah, exactly. And if they have a problem with that, guess what? Fuck you.
I don't give a shit.
I'll say it.
I'm going to be doing it.
Yeah, so it's weird. Texting culture is odd. It's so
probably
stupid.
won't get any better anytime soon, but we'll see.
I think, like I said, as a lot of our generation grows up and gets older, it'll become less of a problem. At least that's what I've already started seeing now.
Yeah.
Like there's still people who I'm like, you're not fully matured yet, that have these problems, and that's just all what it is. There's some people who will never mature enough. That's just reality.
It is what it is.
But moving on though, we can get into this next philosophical question or thought or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I want you to set this up because I sort of understand it, but I also kind of don't. But I want to hear what you have to say about it.
So this the title of this article.
The tarticle.
The title of the article here is "White Collar Work is Just Meetings Now." This is a Atlantic article. The Atlantic article about by Derek Thompson. And I saw this come up on my TikTok. Someone didn't do an incredibly deep dive on it, but they brought up there's a couple interesting tidbits here that I thought was very fascinating. So basically, I'll just read I'll read the intro part here. The paradox of modern white-collar worker is that she is simultaneously more and less alone than her analog in any previous generation. On a given weekday, the share of the labor force working from home is roughly 4 times higher than it was before the pandemic. At no other point in modern history have so many workers spent so much time in a room by themselves during the weekday. But how much of that time is truly alone, in the absence of other people's faces and voices? By some measures, our colleagues are with us more than ever, whether or not we'd like it that way. The share of the typical white-collar workday spent in meetings has steadily increased for the past few decades, and it continues to grow by the year. He goes on to explain how much that the COVID pandemic really changed meetings. He goes in to explain that Microsoft In 2016, a small group of work researchers calculated that time spent in meetings had increased by 50% since the 1990s. Quote, collaboration is taking over the workplace, they wrote in an article for Harvard Business Review. Buried under an avalanche of requests for input or advice, some workers are spending so much time in meetings, taking calls, and combing through their inbox that their most critical work often had to wait until they were home. Wall-to-wall meetings from 9 to 5 were pushing any creative or individual work to some period after dinner. And in 2022, Microsoft researchers published a study that anonymously tracked workers using the company's software. They discovered that, in fact, a miniature workday was forming in the late evening. About 1/3 of the workers in their study were as likely to work at 10 p.m. as they were at 8 a.m. The reason when the pandemic sent knowledge workers home, official meetings replaced casual interactions and made it impossible for many people to get things done unless they found time to log back online after dinner. In further research, Microsoft has found that since 2020, workers in their sample have tripled the time they have spent in meetings.
Damn.
And the guy who did the study, who is the vice president at Microsoft, Jared Spataro, he said, quote, I think we've hit the high point of max human inefficiency in white-collar work. It sometimes seems as if the modern worker spends more time talking about work than actually working.
The big quote.
So the big quote here was that it sometimes seems as if the modern worker spends more time talking about work than actually working. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that concept really applies to higher ups in some of these positions. These people are pulling 6-7 figure salaries to sit in meetings all day and talk about work that they do.
Right.
And the work they do could probably be bunched like the hard actual work, the digging, the writing, the whatever you have to do is only spending maybe 1 day worth of real time. But the rest of the week is talking about setting up the work, what you're doing for the work. How is that work going? You know what I mean? Like all these meetings that you have to meet all these criteria and everything like that you have to speak on while you're doing your project or doing a project, which could range from anything. And it's fascinating to me because in my opinion, I feel like work fills up the time you give it. If I'm like, it's going to take 2 hours to do this project, or right now I'm going to work on this for 2 hours. It will take the entirety of 2 hours for me to write that paper. It will take an entirety of an hour and a half to build my bed. Whether I want to or not, if I set that and I pause it and I were to break it down minute by minute, I will have spent all of my time working on that. But then it's like, it's just for that time block.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where a lot of people are like, oh, you need to block out everything you do in the day, because then you know that that's going to take up that time. If I'm like, I'm going to shower for 5 minutes, brush my teeth for 2, and then, not go all the way down to minutia like that. But it's like, get ready for work, 45 minutes. It will take me 45 minutes to get ready for work. If I give myself 10 minutes to get ready for work, I will take 10 minutes to get to work.
Right.
I mean, like logistically, it doesn't make sense sometimes to do that. But, that plays into effect. But it's fascinating to me that meetings have started the taking over of white collar work so much. You know what I mean? That it's like there's literally an article talking about just how much meetings have happened. And I have experienced this at the site I'm currently at, where the higher ups seem to always be with that busy notification on Microsoft Teams. They're always in a meeting. They're always talking about something. They're attending meetings. They're going to meetings. They're hosting meetings. They're hosting interviews. Or those are still meetings.
Right.
That they're not actually doing real work. If we're gonna quantify real work, but
right. But I mean, that's I guess their job,
right?
In a way,
but
it's
like
to do
it's
to
their
do
job.
meetings. Yeah.
It's just weird that that's what the job is now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's probably what it's always been, though. I mean, in a way, don't you think? Like, I feel like those higher ups have always done, because I almost think that this is more talking about like even lower,
like
tier,
making it into the 8-hour shift you're supposed to be off.
Right. The actual workers now are doing more meetings. Like, I think the higher ups have always done that, as far as I understand. Anytime I've ever heard of a higher up, it's like they're either at a conference or they're at a meeting, which conferences have always been so funny to me, because it's like again, it's like you're in all these meetings to talk about working, and now you're going to a conference where people are talking about working and how to do it
How to make
better.
it more efficiently.
Yeah, how to make it more efficient while you're being inefficient by
Going to these.
yeah, and by like taking yourself away from people who may need you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Like you're there to solve problems too. So as a leader,
and then you're causing problems by being away from your core team of people that you work with. Exactly, guys. I'm at a conference this week. I can't respond to you.
Right.
And it's like, wait, but it's like, what's the conference? Oh, it's about working more efficiently. Huh. Maybe you should try that now and be back here where we need you. So,
and this is the other thing that he says later on in the article. He says, but Spataro also said that recent cultural changes might be driving the surge in meeting times. In the last few years, this is from him, quote, in the last few years, the business world has focused much more on inclusion and letting more people's voices be heard in decision making, he said. And inclusion can be a virtue, Spataro emphasized, but it can also be a cost. A business culture that allows people to say more of their piece is automatically one that requires people to spend more time listening to other people talk. Which is just like, it's mind-blowing to me that it's just, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but it's just like that aspect of it is just like, oh, now I have to go home and then hop on a meeting with people to, talk about the work I just did today or the work I can do tomorrow or the work I can do by Friday.
Right.
And setting up more of like the just kind of like, yeah, you could do this at home, right?
Yeah.
You could do this at home.
Why don't you take this home and do this?
Yeah. Why you could just go home now, beat the traffic.
That's always been like, I mean, the work I do is all at home, more or less. There's not a ton of like it's just expected that when I get home I do it because I make my own hours.
Right.
But I know from people who don't work in this industry or maybe do work in it, but they're like work an 8-hour shift that that happens a lot where it's like they're finishing up things at home and it's like, wait, but you're like, you're not getting paid for that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's so
like, how are you supposed to go on?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, how do you do anything if you're working at home? Like, yeah,
right.
But that's just expected. And it's like, it shouldn't be expected.
No.
It should be expected. You do the work there and you go home and you don't do anything. Like, that's how was supposed to be at a point.
Right. And now I think that now it's pivoting more of just getting it done. Like the work-life balance, I feel like is going to completely hang in the balance by how much of Gen Z and Gen Alpha like get into the workforce of like, all right, what are we really realistically going to do whenever we get to like higher up positions?
Right.
Are we going to make people go home earlier and go to meetings and stay on later, or are we going to make them stay later and go on less meetings?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just, I think it was just a fascinating concept to just think about that, like that there's just so much meetings about it could be pointless shit. And it, again, that even this could have been an email very much plays into the effect of a lot of this.
Yeah. I mean, do you see this affecting, I was just thinking about this. Do you see this affecting your job in any way? Cause I feel like there's probably not a ton.
I feel like it could.
Okay.
It could. It depends on where you work. If you're like a community pharmacist, if you're like out, being like a normal quote unquote, just like a stereotypical pharmacist, if you're working at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS,
right,
local grocery store, independent pharmacy, whatever, more likely than not, you will not see this happen. I would say you will probably still have some meetings online because I feel like some of the stuff that they do at retail stores does feel a bit rudimentary, like having like Windows 95 still on the computers is a bit much. You still are expected to run Google Chrome on it.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like it has like that Windows XP, like grayed out bar, gray bars and all that. Having that type of interface to run like a Teams meeting is very difficult. So you like have to call in through a telephone. You know what I mean? Like it is a bit rudimentary compared to this. Right. But I think more of like a clinical pharmacist could be doing those kinds of things, and especially leadership. Obviously, people are going to still be doing meetings, but
Right.
leadership is going to start implementing more meetings to bring more people's like it said in the article. They're going to bring more meetings in, and then also there are a lot of pharmacies even the 3 that I've been to, 2 of the 3 have on-call pharmacists that you're expected like once every 12 weeks, once every 10 weeks, once every 8 weeks. That for that week, you are on call after you've been clocked out, after you've like clocked out for the day. You'd still get paid like half time or whatever it is.
Sure.
You still get paid for it,
Yeah.
but you're still expected to basically answer the phone all hours of the night, all hours of the day, for that entire week.
Yeah.
And maybe that's like a good time to take PTO or whatever you want to say about it. But I think that is something that has come up a couple times in conversations with the pharmacists I've been working under.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's fine. I think that is the way it should be, is that it's like you need to have someone on the clock all the time to like, especially for something so clinical and so like acute care, like especially if you're if you need someone there. And there are pharmacists that work night shifts at hospitals and stuff like that. So there's always going to be someone there to work.
Yeah, I mean that's you took the job because you knew that was going to happen.
Right. Right. And I think I do appreciate the more inclusion and the more hearing people's voices.
Yeah, but
I feel like there's a less of a point for those if you're having it all the time.
Yeah,
like if it's like a once a month meeting, that's fine. But if you have like 5 once a month meetings, with 5 different people, then that takes up a lot of time. So it just needs to be one big long meeting. But you can't have that in a setting like a pharmacy.
Yeah, yeah. It's messy. It's a weird thing, and all technology has done is just made it easier to waste more of your time.
Absolutely,
and that's what he's saying. It's efficiency has become less efficient now.
And then he goes on to end the article saying, rather than making workplace communication more efficient, office technology has mostly made it more inescapable.
Almost word for word I said. It's I didn't even read that part, but I am a philosopher, so these are things
these
that
are the
I
things
know.
that we're thinking about.
Oh my! Well, good. I was that very interesting stuff, Gavin. I appreciate you bringing that to the table.
Yeah.
I gotta see this clip. I don't know what this clip is. You gotta show me this clip.
Okay, all right. I'll share my screen real quick.
I'll just say this: Gavin put a clip in our doc. We have a show doc, and he said multiple times, "Do not look at this clip. I don't want you to see it before the show." And I kept my word to it. Sometimes, I'm a cheeky peeker. I like to see things. I have no idea what I'm about to see.
Hold on.
Take your time.
Right.
Do you know how to do it?
I do know how to do it, but I did not have it pulled up here. I did not have it pulled up in a separate window, so I could just, go to that separate window there.
Because you don't want me to see all your porn links and.
Right. Exactly. You get it. All right.
I'm seeing this.
Okay.
Make sure I can hear it. Just give me a little snip for a second. I couldn't hear that. I could not hear that. Yeah, I'm not hearing that for some reason.
Okay, well, the sound is very important.
Yeah, let's say, are you still sharing audio? Make sure your audio is still being shared.
I'll just restart it here.
Might as well. Just to be safe.
There we go.
Give me a second of it. Okay, I'm hearing it now. All right, here we go.
Can you still see this?
I can. I'm ready.
Okay. It's 43 seconds.
Okay. Holy shit. Uh-oh. Oh, no, he went. Uh-oh. Why does he want him to get, or why do they want him to get him in the water so fast?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Bing!
Boom!
PETA might be like, that's animal abuse, but to me, I mean, listen, man, they're crocodiles
The
or
crocodiles.
alligators. Like
I'm just thinking
they're
like how
fine.
much
They're
that
gonna
would
be
hurt.
fine.
Like,
oh yeah.
I'm thinking about like, I mean, like, it would absolutely hurt because like their whole skull is usually preserved like whenever they die. So it's
right.
like that's their skull.
There ain't nothing much protecting,
It's just a bone.
bopping them.
They
on
do
the
have
head.
quite small brains, but like
like they'll be. Listen, it's
They'll be-
it's maybe
they'll be
not
fine.
okay. Listen, whatever. I don't condemn it. I'm not like go hit an alligator on the head for no reason.
with a shovel. Yeah.
But like, I mean, it's funny.
this
It
guy
is
probably he works at probably like alligator like sanctuary.
Yeah.
That they like raise it for whatever reason.
Sure.
For entertainment purposes or whatever.
Yeah.
They maybe are doing feeding time. He wants them all in the water so that they don't attack the
Right.
person who's going to be
Right.
feeding them. So
Did you? See
I don't know.
Speaking of alligator videos, did you see the one I sent in our group chat?
I did not.
Do you want to pull that up? It's kind of funny. I mean, it has to do with it's
Yeah.
not very similar in any way, but it's funny to me.
In our Instagram one?
Yes.
Okay. I think I liked the message, but I was just so I could show that I saw it.
There we go with the text culture thing. I didn't need that. I didn't need any sort of approval.
Yeah, well, I think you did, pal.
I like approval. I'll take it. I'll take it
So
any
it's-
day of the week. Do you
it's,
see
it's
it? Do you see the
loading.
one? Okay. I don't see it pulled up just yet.
Yeah,
I don't even know what. Oh, never mind. I do see your screen.
Okay.
I don't even know what the audio is, so we'll just have to find that out live. It's mostly the video that matters to me.
Get it how you live it.
Okay.
10 toes in.
I would just mute it. It's too loud, anyways. So, so if you're listening,
Wow.
it's a
Wow! Holy shit! Holy shit! Wow! Wow!
not
Wow!
over yet.
Holy fuck! There he is, Judge Dredd.
So if you're watching, it seems like it's gonna be a very bad video where this guy gets
Eaten
bit.
by alligator,
Yeah,
crocodile.
bit or eaten by an alligator, and then it very quickly turns into something.
It turns into him like riding it, then it turns into a jet ski, and the jet ski's flying out into the air, and then the airplane turns into like a jet plane, and then it separates into a jetpack, and then the jetpack turns into a motorcycle with a guy on it, and then the guy turns into a rocket ship.
It's really something.
It sounds like something a toddler would say, but holy shit, dude.
A lot of people have problems with AI. If they're just gonna make funny,
if they're
things
gonna
like
do
this, then
that,
I'm
if they're
okay.
gonna do this, that's fine.
I'm fine with
Would
it.
I melt the icebergs for this? Probably not.
No,
but-
no. It's not worth it. It makes
Not
me
worth
laugh,
it for that,
but it's
but
certainly not
it's
worth
very
it.
funny.
Oh man. Well, I don't have time for my Carson Cinema Corner, but that's fine. It's evergreen. It's an old movie anyways. I'm waiting. I'm excited. Speaking of movies, coming out is that next week? Is that really next week? Next week, next Friday, Beetlejuice is coming out.
What the fuck?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
It's kind of early.
Yeah, it is kind of early. I'm surprised they didn't slot it for later, but I don't know. I like getting it's weird because Beetlejuice, I don't know if it was meant to be like a Halloween-y type movie. I think it just kind of became that. Like, I'm going to see when it was released originally in 1988. This is the wrong one. It was released in March of 1988.
Holy shit! What the hell?
Yeah, like I don't think
I
it
did not know
was
that.
meant to just be a weird Tim Burton movie. So I think it's fine. I think they could have maybe done it beginning of October, but I don't think it was meant to be that way. So they're, doing with what they will. But I'm excited for that. So I will, once I see that, I don't think I'll see it next week just because I think the theaters will be packed out here.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially for that movie. That's people are pretty excited about that.
And once it hits September 1st, it's October 1st, basically Halloween 1.
Basically. I've already seen so many Halloween things in the grocery stores here. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I forgot how quickly it can transition from like back to school stuff to Halloween.
Yeah, they take no time.
No.
They're just going to start combining the two. They're going to have like Scream masks right next to the notebooks.
Yeah. Well,
This is what they want in America.
this is the liberal futures want.
This is the liberal futures. Moving on though to our second to last segment of the day that we've been doing quite frequently recently. I've just gotten an itch to get back into Nextdoor dramas, I guess. And they just keep getting better. I mean, this one's got potential for being greatest of all time. One of, I would say, and maybe I say that a lot, but it's because I also mean it. In case you don't know,
It's somehow always topped.
yeah, it really is. They just keep going into a direction you never. I mean, it's kind of expected, but like the comments is where it gets like, whoa, I never thought somebody would say that. And this one's just real brain rot, I would say.
This is pure ass.
This is pure.
This
Have
is
you read any of it?
ass.
Have you read any of it?
No,
Okay, you're in for a real. You're in for a real treat.
I've read the first 3.
Okay.
That's all I've read. This
you're-
is pure ass.
Yeah, you're in for a treat on this one. So if you don't know what Nextdoor Drama is a segment we do where we go to the infamous Nextdoor blog posting website, which I think everybody knows what it is by now, but it's a blog posting website for your neighborhood. I am still in the St. Charles suburb of St. Louis Nextdoor. Eventually I will transition out to the Los Angeles one. I just haven't yet. This one was also, like I mentioned earlier, sent in by Gavin's dad. Shout out Phil one time. Who's our certified Nextdoor correspondent at this point.
Yeah,
I think he
honestly,
has to
He's
have
great.
the title. And we go there, we take a blog entry, we script it out from the entry to the comments, and we do a dramatic reenactment of it. This week's Nextdoor Drama is titled Trample on My First Amendment Rights. I will be playing Brian, who is a very dumb neighbor. Gavin will be playing Jason, who's an extremely incompetent cop, which I think we can do some more explanation after that, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory, which there will be a little after that I didn't get to in the entry that we can talk about. That's pretty interesting. So without saying much else, I'm gonna hit the Nextdoor Drama intro song and play the music, and we'll get right into it, baby. This week on Nextdoor Drama.
I would like to know why my HOA is telling me to take down a thin blue line American flag and trample on my First Amendment rights.
What does that stand for?
The thin blue line flag is a field of black background separated by a thin blue line. The symbolic meaning of this thin blue line is representative of all law enforcement officers. On top, you have the law-abiding portion of a community, plus a thin blue line, plus and all others who would intend chaos and destruction.
Unflipping believable.
Have they ever need help? I just hope that they call the Ghostbusters, because they don't obviously support the police.
Oh, hello, no. I didn't even know I said that. Oh, hello, no. I would blanket my entire house with them.
I don't think Latin American flag would be considered political. It represents our country.
Obviously, your HOA doesn't support the police. Otherwise, it wouldn't even be an issue if they did.
I tried contacting the email. They are closed. They are closed for re-budgeting.
I'd tell them to go get effed. So crazy.
I have a question now. Does that mean... I have a question now. Does that mean I Does that mean I know Christmas, no Halloween, Easter, or anything else?
What if you put up a sports team flag that you support? Same thing as your flag supporting the police.
I'll consider this the start of a petition. So if I could just get everyone to hit like if you think I should be able to keep that flag up.
Holy shit, man. Isn't that great? Isn't that just
Wow.
a wonderful gift from the heavens, the next door heavens? People, let me just say right off the bat, everything Gavin read besides the comment explaining what the flag is was from the same person. So anytime those like double sentences every single time were all of his comments, the cops' comments.
Same police officer, yeah.
And those were
security officer.
what I did. I scripted this out a specific way. I took every single one of his comments in the thread and put those in first. So those are all of his comments. Every single comment in the thread he had were like doubled up like that. Which I don't even know how you do that. I maybe. Maybe. I don't know how you do that.
Or like there's a possibility that that he has like predictive text on, like for like either Android or iPhone.
Yeah, that could
and
be.
for some reason it just like overworked itself, like was like, oh, I know the rest of your sentence, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it just like, then he's like, well, what the fuck? And then he's like, I'll text it again. Fuck you.
Fuck you. I'm going to do it again. I don't listen to anybody.
I'm going to do it again. I won't listen to you fucking robots.
We're fucking robots.
God damn it.
Oh, man. I mean, listen,
Does that mean I know Christmas, no Halloween, Easter, or anything else?
I mean, I just got to come right out and say it. This is the people we have working on our police force.
Fuck yeah, it is, man.
And
I wonder what his like documentations look like. Like whenever he's writing things, what does that look like?
Oh,
whenever
yeah.
he has to, like write up something.
Write out notes for things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably all scribble.
It's probably all doubled up like that. I went out and I went out and I went out and then they.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's crazy to this. And it gets even worse because like not only is he incompetent at writing and just like misspelling and doubling his words up for some reason, doubling phrases up. It's not even just words. It's like full fucking phrases. It's crazy, dude. It's so crazy. I can't get over it.
The last one that says like, so just get everyone to hit that like if you think I should be able to keep that flag up.
It's like he forgot what he was saying in the middle of it, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, let me finish that up."
So if I could just get everyone to hit like if you think I should be able to keep that flag up.
I should be able to keep that flag up. So
now you mentioned it, yeah.
So not only is he incompetent for those reasons, Gavin, obviously there was whenever I pulled this, there was 285 comments on that one post.
Jesus fucking Christ, man.
And again, that's like pretty normal. For most posts, they usually have like, I would say on average 60 to 200. Like this one's an outlier. This one definitely had way more than usual. And it's like, again, it's like usually people saying the same things because they're dumb and don't read other people's comments.
I'm
which
just
is
gonna say the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, which is like for
the first thing that comes to mind.
For the first thing that comes to mind. Yeah, it's pretty normal. Yeah, so not only is this person incompetent in their spelling abilities, they also are just pretty dull and dumb as far as it comes to the reasoning why they were told to take the flag down. Because listen, I'm no expert on HOAs. I think I found out what an HOA was like last year, maybe even this year, if I'm being completely honest. And reading these comments, most people who probably even like support him as far as, his beliefs go, are like, it really just depends on how you have the flag hung up. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I guess you won't be able to see this unless I take over. I'm going to take over sharing for a second.
That's fine.
Because I want you to see. Do you see this right here?
Yeah.
You're seeing my screen?
Yeah, I am seeing that. Yep.
You see, this is the picture he posted of how the flag was hung up. You see how it's hung on the banister?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll show this screen online. So people immediately, once he posted that, were like, oh, well, duh, you can't. HOA laws, like, say you can't. You have to, usually it has to be on a flagpole.
Right.
It has nothing to do with what the fucking flag stands for. It's the fact that he has it draped over his balcony, showing the world, like, and all that does is, like, the reason why the HOA doesn't want that, and they probably won't even want him to have a flagpole because it looks like a condo or an apartment of some sorts, is because, like, they don't want people coming by and seeing that flag and being like, oh, like, this is what this apartment stands for, whether that, like, is political or not. Like, it's just it. And also, like, that might even not be the reason. It just because it looks trashy. Like, it's just, they don't want it looking that way. Like, it
And
it really doesn't have to do with the political thing, but, like, that's maybe a reason, but it's mostly just because it looks trashy. You know?
It's fascinating to me that someone brought up the idea of switching to a sports team.
Yeah, which is crazy because that's
as
absolutely
if, like,
not right.
As if, like, the police are a sports team that you're supposed to cheer on
Right,
during like a season.
Yeah, it's police season. Make sure you have your jerseys on.
Holy shit! Make sure you got your vest on to support the boys in blue.
Yeah, your bulletproof vest on just in case. Yeah, that was a crazy ass comment I meant to bring up. So this guy goes even further, Gavin, because he's not backing down. Like, he doesn't. Oh, what was that? Because he's not backing down from his beliefs that the HOA is targeting him because he's a police officer. His most recent post says, I asked for a copy of the bylaws because the manager of the HOA, oh God, here we go. Because the manager of the HOA and said that I wasn't supposed to have anything hanging from my deck. That's fine. I'll find a different way to display it. But if I have further problems to where they don't even want me to display it, I'm going to start a GoFundMe page for legal fees that have to be amended. Any proceeds left over will simply go to charity to help out the less fortunate. What the that's so fucking vague. So far, I have 18.3 thousand views, which means nothing, unless there's somebody that wants to take on this case pro bono. So he literally spells out the reasoning why, which is exactly what we just said, that his HOA said they don't want anything hanging over his deck.
Right.
That's the reason why. So boom, right there, your problem is solved. But then he goes on to be like, but if there actually is any other problems, I'm going to need money to help pay for this.
I'll let you know that I know how to solve these legal issues because I abide the law.
I am the law,
see this
buddy.
badge? I know the law.
I am the law, buddy. So it's just like it's just so fucking stupid. Like, he's just looking for a problem at this point. And also with HOA laws, usually they'll tell you to take it down. If you don't, they'll probably keep telling you, and then they'll eventually start fining you. And then you just have to pay a fine every month, and you can keep it up usually.
Yeah,
like
usually
HOA. As far as I understand, HOAs don't really have any like sort of legal precedent.
No.
Like, you can do whatever you want. Like, I don't even know if you can really sue them because they're like, it just doesn't usually work that way from my understanding.
No,
So,
I don't think it does either.
it's just, it's really telling.
A little sad,
I'll say
frankly.
that. And like, I won't show his picture because I'm not gonna obviously dox this person, but he's, I'll just say this. He looks how you expect. He has sunglasses and a hat on. And a cigarillo in his mouth. So he's just like every other, trad man.
Yeah, trad
American. So great stuff. Thank you. Shout out to Gavin's dad for that one, because that one was fantastic. I mean, it really went above and beyond my expectations. Oh, I love it. I love when those ones come along. Let's jump into our final segment and get out of here, which is Whatcha Listening To, where Gavin and I recommend a song, album, or artist to each other and to you, the audience. Gavin, what are you listening to this week, my friend?
I was told a long time ago, I think at this point, May.
It's a long time.
No, actually, I think it was probably more like, February. I think I was told February to to listen to this album, that I would really like it. And it is Sounds of Silver by LCD Sound System. This is an album from I think 2007.
Okay.
Here, let me make sure. Yeah, 2007. Damn.
Whew. Whew.
I've already heard 2 of the tracks. It was Time to Get Away, which I think was in MLB 2K10, 2K9.
Okay.
Great song, by the way. It's a fantastic song. And the rest of the songs on this album are more Talking Heads-esque. Sorry, hold on.
You're good.
A lot more of these are Talking Heads-esque, more experimental, kind of like digital, like techno, kind of very interesting sounds. It's very creative. It's a very creative album. I really, really enjoyed this. I was listening to it in the IV room and on my way to work and my way home from work and everything like that. And what's fascinating, really fascinating about this album is that he ends this album on like a bluesy kind of stereotypical like piano sad bluesy kind of song, and it's like a love letter to New York. And the last song is called New York, I Love You, But You're Freaking Me Out.
That's fun.
And it's so good, dude. It's so...
Would I like this? I don't know any... I hear LCD Sound System, and I'm like, that sounds like a super
you're bringing
group
me
to
down. You're bringing me down. I think it's just a single guy.
Really? I'm always... In my head, I was like... It's like... I think of like Polyphonic Spree or like ELO whenever I think of it. Like I think of like a big super group. But it really... is it really just one person? I don't know anything about...
I'm sorry. It is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people.
Okay.
So it's a little bit bigger. It is 7 people.
Okay.
But
and only
but it was
2002.
started by the guy who started DFA Records.
Huh.
Or co-founder of DFA Records. I don't know what they make anymore, but yeah, James Murphy. James Murphy is the lead singer, and he's been around for a while. And it's definitely, there's just some longer songs. It's only a 9-song album, but it's like almost an hour long. So these are a little bit longer. But the New York, I Love You, But You're Bringing Me Down is a fantastic song. I wish I had heard about this song literally any period of time earlier than now. It's a really fucking good song. It's got a guitar solo in it. It's fantastic, and it's great. There's a couple other good songs. I think like Us v Them is really good.
Would this be something I would enjoy? Do you think?
I think you could. I think you could enjoy it.
Okay.
I think there's a couple of songs that are kind of like, I don't really like that sound, or you know, like, oh, that's kind of annoying. You can definitely just skip them. But I do like Time to Get Away. It's got basically a drum machine in the background.
Cool.
Literally for the entire song. It's a great track. And then Watch the Tapes and New York, I Love You, But You're Bringing Me Down. It is fantastic.
I'm gonna check it out because like I said, I mean, obviously, I literally don't know anything about them. I think I very much proved that.
And they also have another song on another album called like Daft Punk is Playing in My Living Room or something like that.
That's funny.
So it's really good. They have a really great library of songs. So I would definitely check them out.
I'm gonna check it out. This week, kind of a weird one for me, maybe. I don't know if I've ever recommended anything from them. I switched it up. I told you something I was going to recommend earlier, and then I changed my mind because I remembered that I wanted to recommend this song. And that is from the 1975. Can you imagine me listening to the 1975? And it's the song She's American from their 2016 album, which has the longest name I've ever heard. I like it when you sleep, for you are so beautiful yet so unaware. Such a long album title. I don't know. Have I ever
Was this about Taylor Swift?
I honestly have no idea. I don't know. So I always want to say I like the 1975, but really I only listen to one song by them whenever I pull them up. I don't know if I recommended it before, but the song, what is it? I can't remember what it's called now. Love It If We Made It. I really like. I don't know if I've recommended it before, but I love that song. Somebody showed it to me and I was like, this song is beautiful. And then I would try to dip into other stuff and I was like, I don't know. I couldn't really ever get into it.
Yeah, same.
And then,
me neither.
And then I follow Maddie Healy, the lead singer.
Did he or did he not have a thing with Taylor Swift? Am I crazy?
Maybe. But that was like recently, I think.
Yeah, that was
or maybe
2 years ago.
Yeah. So it wouldn't have, I don't think this song would have been about it. Maybe. I have no idea. First of all, I have no idea. Second of all, I couldn't care less.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
that
would
is
be
just where
interesting
the
to find
1975 are in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, is like that. But I followed Matty Healy for a while because I've always liked his style as far as like, style of dressing goes. And he would buy vintage stuff. So I was always like, oh, I would love to see if I could, worm my way into selling to him and to the whole band. I think they all buy vintage stuff. But I follow him and he's, I don't know. I think there might be some controversies with him that I don't really fully understand. And then but I don't even know if they're anything that is a big deal. I could be wrong. I'm sorry if I am. I think it's just it might just be relationship stuff where it's he was, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not
there
trying to
was something I think he said about Ice Spice a while ago.
Yeah, that's right.
That
he
was
did,
the bad thing.
That's the worst of what I think he's said is he said something inappropriate about her. And obviously I don't condemn that, but it's stuff
don't
where it's
condone that.
Condone. Thank you. I do condemn it. I don't condone it. I get those two mixed up. Dyslexia probably. I obviously don't condone that, but it's something that I think is probably forgivable. Again, I'm very going baseless here because I don't remember what it was he said. I just know it wasn't good. But all of that aside,
despite all of that,
he posts a lot of really funny things. He's just he doesn't go on his Instagram often, but when he does, he shit post memes. And it'll be a 20 story long slide of just bullshit and garbage usually. But he recently, literally just a few days ago, posted a clip of someone breaking down the drums in this song, She's American. And he was all positive things about it, talking about kind of explaining why the drums happen in this way. And it's the drums come in on the and beat of one or something. They come in at a weird beat that you don't expect. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I'm going to listen to this song more. And I did, and I really like it. It makes me want to listen to more of their albums. It's just usually a lot of sappy shit that I don't necessarily want to listen to all the time.
I remember listening to their first song or first album, the Chocolate song.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is fucking terrible. I was like,
oh, really?
I hated that.
I liked it
for a long time. I was
first.
It was like this is too much all at once.
Yeah.
I was like, my ears are bleeding.
I think you should listen to this song because it's all. I think you would appreciate it, especially for the lyrics, because he's talking about this girl's telling me my teeth look I need to fix my teeth because they look like shit. She's so American, a British person's perspective of American girls,
right?
Which I mean is every Beatles song.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'll appreciate that.
But also, it's just musically very cool. And then I would also listen to "Love It If We Made It" because that's a really cool, kind of drum beaty piano song. I think you would like both of those. They're very they're completely different than the Chocolate and shit like that.
Yeah,
in that way. So yeah, I don't know. I want to listen to more of the 1975. Every time a song gets recommended, I like it.
This is more of my alley of music.
Yeah.
If you were to go down the string of music, it would be that genre is just a straight line to where I'm at right now.
Well, I mean, I've talked about it before, but I have a really high appreciation of good pop rock, and the 1975 falls into that category of it's just a little too sappy. I like it on the happier side usually, but there's I have a real appreciation and listen to a lot of that more than I share because it's usually I'm very picky about it what I like. So
do you like Chapel Roan's Hot to Go?
I did actually listen to Chapel Roan recently, and I kind of stopped listening to it quickly because I was like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I usually, again, with the 1975, it's the same thing where it's like, I typically don't like their most popular songs. And I have a feeling that would be the same way with Chaperone. So should I listen to that song? What was it called again?
It's going to be everywhere for a long time.
Hot to Go. Maybe I already did.
So there's other, There's I think it's called Red Wine Supernova is another one that's pretty good. I really enjoy that song.
I think that one I did like. There was one song where I was like, I really didn't like it at all. But I can appreciate it. I don't know if it's for me just yet. I don't know. I need to.
She went for like the 80s vibe, I think, on the Hot to Go song. So if like
Okay.
you're into like the 80s like pop, it sounds like 80s pop.
Love me my 80s pop. All right, brother. Let's get out of here. I gotta go.
Oh my goodness gracious! Can you hear that?
Speaking of working late, I gotta get right back to work. Do a
Hell
couple
yeah, baby.
bangs, and then make dinner, late night dinner as usual. How about you?
Anything out of the ordinary for you, huh?
Nothing out of the ordinary for me, and I'm sure you're going right to bed if I had to guess.
Yeah, gonna be hopping into bed, brush my teeth again,
and
I'll brush my teeth again, and chilling out for the rest of the night. Going to bed, waking up at 7 a.m.
The song stopped.
This is my last week at that rotation, so starting out, and I'll be having possibly a change of scenery in 2 weeks. So we'll see.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
and I can give you a tour of where I'm at, hopefully.
Oh, yeah, that's
We'll
true.
see.
You could. The song's not playing anymore.
Oh shit.
All right, everybody.
Okay. Well, everybody, thanks for listening to Takes All Kinds podcast. Keep watching, keep listening, keep sharing, keep reviewing, keep liking, keep commenting. Everything is meaningful to us.
Everything, including
Everything.
you, my little sweetie.
Yes, please.